Welcome, everybody, to the Courageous Possibilities podcast. With me, I'm Jo Gillard, and today I'm excited because I have the beautiful Rachel Starr with us today. Hi, Rachel. Welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone.
Super excited. I'm going to kick off by letting everybody know a little bit more about you before we dive into the questions today. So, Rachel, after a successful but unfulfilling career in tech, Rachel set off to uncover what makes people successful and satisfied. She discovered the systems of astrology and human design, studied and applied them for years, and exchanged her 9 to 5 for the entrepreneur's adventure. Now she shares insight from the cosmic cutting edge. Rachel's work is for ambitious people ready to use their unique genius to create wealth, positive impact, and personal fulfillment. She helps entrepreneurs with personal branding, business, and leadership, with being who they were born to be as they reach for the stars. I love this bio. It's beautiful. Thank you so much again for
Thank you.
being here with us on the Courageous Possibilities podcast.
No, it's so excited. I love the name of your podcast. It is just the best. That is the vibe for us right now. Courageous possibilities.
Right, right. And one of the main reasons that I reached out to you was your human design background, because I
Mhm.
have started playing in this arena in the last year or so, having heard about it a long time ago, but only getting really serious in the last year or so. And I know from me, learning how this inner authority, how to like know what is a true and correct decision for you has been a really incredible tool to help me be more courageous with some of the
Mhm.
decisions that I've made and really lean into that. But I'd love to, before we dive into the human design stuff, ask you a little bit just about your own story and what have been the most courageous things on your path
Oh
that
my
you've.
gosh, so many. Yeah, I feel like a big part of my story is about being courageous. I feel like that's kind of part of my, raison d'être. Like, this is why I'm here. This is what I'm here to do, is to be courageous. So I grew up, yes, in small town California. I always knew that I wanted to live in a big city and have an adventure and go out there, and specifically wanted to be in Europe. I was like, if I can be near castles, and all that, then I'm closer to fulfilling my dream of being a princess. So let's do that. And but here I
Yeah.
am, a queen, so even better. Cosmic queen is
Mhm.
my business. So I ended up choosing a university based on the fact that I wanted to go abroad. That was my thing, and I wanted to experience something different, experience something new. And so I found my way to London, where I live now, where I've lived for the last 16 years. And it was one big courageous moment after another. And something that's interesting is, London is where I discovered astrology. London is where I discovered human design. London is where I discovered myself. And it's interesting when you look at the astrocartography, if anyone is familiar with the astrology of places and locations and how that corresponds to your birth chart overlaid on the map of the world. For me, London is Mars, and Mars is this planet of courage, this planet of passion, this planet of go out there and get it. And I just feel different here. And so I feel very, open to the possibilities of what could happen for me. And so when I realized that I was out of alignment, when I started to have my dark night of the soul around my Saturn return around the age of 26, 27 is when it started for me, a little bit early. Then I started realizing, okay, my vision for my life is not matching up with what I'm doing. I was working in corporate and in tech as a management consultant for one of the big four, which is, glamorous and amazing and being flown all over the world to, do this stuff and being paid well. That's all great. Expense account, yes, but very unfulfilling. And so that's why I like to say I want people to be successful and satisfied, because that's what helped me realize that what I was doing wasn't in alignment. I was successful, but I was not satisfied. And so here I was. And so I went on this journey of self-discovery, found astrology at a very difficult time in my life after a tough breakup, realized, this is my key. I need to understand who I am. Then I can make good decisions that are aligned with me, because you can't really make good decisions if you don't really know, what what is your reason? What is your purpose? Who are you?
Mhm.
And so that's the path that I kind of took. And then I started a business. My first business was in wellness events because I realized the incredible support that wellness events, learning things like meditation and astrology had done for me. So I thought, okay, I want to share with others. And then realized very quickly that events is a lot of work for not a lot of pay. So I thought, that's not the vibe. No. And then I got into coaching and I realized this is it. This is it for me. It's the coming together of something I'm good at with something I love and something I'm obsessed with. So I was like, this is, that ikigai, like coming together. What does the world need? What do I love? What am I good at? And so, yeah, so what I do is I use these cosmic systems to help people to become more of themselves and then to make those courageous decisions and then to learn how to implement them using their human design and astrology to make sure that they're finding the path of least resistance for them and they're able to really, yeah, self actualize in a way that is really supportive to their community and the world around them. And I mean, I could never see myself coaching or supporting anyone without astrology and human design. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's wild.
Mhm. Mhm. And actually, even just listening to you share your story, thank you so much for hearing you sharing your story. I do wonder. I'm like, how many people that are familiar with human design could
Hmm.
pick which type Rachel might be?
Take a wild guess.
Take a wild guess. The speed,
Yeah,
the variety.
the energy.
I love it. I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
it's so good. Mhm.
Um, And where did I want to take that then? So I love hearing about how you support people.
Mm.
And you talked about, and we talked about a little bit offline before, this idea of decisions. Like for me,
Oh,
that's
yes,
been the biggest
yes.
thing of human design anyway. It was kind of
Mm.
it feels more like something I can do something with than
Yes.
astrology that I've like read a lot
A
about. And you're
little
kind of like, oh, that
ephemeral.
sounds a
Yeah.
bit like me. Yes, that resonates, but now what? Like now what does
Yeah.
that mean? How do I
How do I
use it?
use it? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I know people can really like connect to the planets and sort of journal and get guidance and those types of
Mhm.
beautiful ideas. But human design felt kind of really practical. I'm a Virgo. I
Yes.
like got stellium in Virgo,
Yes.
right? I'm like, this is me.
Yes. This is
Let me
perfect.
work with this. And you touched into like 2024 being this big year of decisions. I would love
Yes.
to invite you to share a bit about why that is from
Absolutely.
astrology.
And it's funny because I haven't actually put it in that way before, but when we were chatting, I was like, yeah, 2024, that's what this is about. So 2024, so obviously we've been through some big courageous decisions that all of us have had to experience over, from 2020 onwards. 2020, by the way, I didn't fully answer your question. All of my courageous decisions, I decided to leave my job. I got pregnant, I had my baby, and I was like, I am leaving my job. I am going full time into my business. I'm going to make it work. And I did. Those courageous leaps led me to where I am today. And it's incredible. I love it. And so we've had to experience a lot of change, a lot of upheaval, a lot of chaos, a lot of change in our society, in the world. We're at a very pivotal point in history. If you look at the astrology, the history, the cycles of the United States and other countries, like it's all happening, right? We're coming into a new world that, and we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet. And so it can be very unsettling. And so what's important is to find that inner strength. And 2024 specifically has this energy of inner strength, which is going to guide us to really clear decision making. So in numerology, 2024 is an 8 year. The 8 is all about inner strength. It's all about power and personal empowerment and finding ways of empowering yourself and not giving your power away to other, organizations, people, whatever. And so in that way, I think it's a really inspiring year to be in. Last year was all about things falling apart and trusting the process.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that that's what 2023 was about. And that was a 7 year. 7 years are very challenging, but now we're in the 8. So it's like, how do we come back to that grounded foundation within ourselves?
Mhm.
It's not about depending on other structures. It's about depending on ourselves. And alongside that, we look at some of the human design transits and the astrology transits that we're having. There's major activations for Aries and Libra. Aries and Libra this year, starting all the way from July 17, 2023, but also through this entire year until next January, we're experiencing major activation. So anyone who, has strong Aries or strong Libra in their chart, or just, exists on planet Earth, you're experiencing it. You're feeling it. And the lesson with Aries Libra is that we need to let go of the shadow side of Libra, which as a Libra, I'm very familiar with, which
Mm.
is people pleasing, which is over compromising, which is not prioritizing your own needs. You're kind of putting your own needs last, and you're putting the needs of someone else above that. And that's what we're letting go of right now. And we're doing a lot of this inner alchemical work, this inner healing, this subconscious healing to let go of that and to actually lean into the healthy Aries. Of
Mm.
course, there's an unhealthy Aries that's very activated right now. Just look at politics, you see
Mhm.
it, right? There's an unhealthy Aries, which is like, let's battle,
Yeah.
right? Let's have conflict. Let's not care about each other.
Mm.
That's unhealthy Aries. But healthy Aries is what the universe is wanting us to lean into, which is independent thinking, being on mission, on target, on track with your heart's desires and
Mm.
prioritizing your needs. If we all, I believe, we're a little bit more selfish and actually prioritizing our needs and respecting and recognizing the needs of the people around us at the same time, I think we would have a much more successful and satisfied world. And
Mhm.
so we need to look at that high expression of Aries. I mean, we have eclipses in Aries, we have the North Node in Aries. So this is our growth point this year. We have Chiron in Aries, which is the healer. Which is healing childhood wounds, right, around overly compromising and people pleasing. And then we've also got in human design lots of activations of gate 51 this year, which is in the heart center, and it's called the gate of shock. And it's this idea that we need to almost be shocked in order to change, in order to take care of ourselves and realize the potential and the value that we carry as humans. So that's all those reasons are why I say that 2024 is very much about decision making, because it's about really relying on yourself, getting clear, getting on track, and going for it.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. And I'm so with you too on like that healed Aries, which can sound selfish. But when
Mm-hmm,
it comes from a healthy place of self-valuing and self-care and even like and self-love,
mm-hmm,
I believe when we have that centered connection with ourselves, as we've kind of tapped into a couple times already in this
mm-hmm.
conversation, then we don't judge others, and we
Yeah.
let other people be themselves too. So,
Yes. Yes.
it sounds selfish, but actually it's really not. It's a
Yeah.
healthy selfish, if that
It's a
makes sense.
healthy
It's not a
selfish
me
because,
over you. It's a like
yeah.
I get to
Yeah,
be and you get to be and we all get to be, and that's a healthy way for us to
exactly.
work together.
And I think especially as women, like we have to learn the healthy selfish because we're not taught it. We're taught to be self-sacrificing. We're taught to be, doormats, essentially. We're taught to put everyone else's needs above our own and then to be martyrs and to have all this resentment and
Mhm.
regret for things that we didn't get to accomplish in our lives. And that's over now. We're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. We're like, that
Yeah.
1950s, like 1920s, 1800s thing is done. And so now who are we now? And so, of
Mm.
course, it's a bumpy road figuring this out because we've not done it before, but, we're ready to get rid of the patriarchy and we're ready to welcome in a
Mm.
healthy respect and love and honoring of our own desires. And
Yeah.
that's the vibe. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the it almost feels like the healthy masculine it
Yeah.
includes
Yes.
the healthy Aries,
Yeah,
a little
Aries
bit.
is very, yeah, masculine, yang, fire, passionate energy. And yes, exactly. We can't heal
Mm.
the feminine without healing the masculine as well within
Yeah.
ourselves. So we've got to do both.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually just in experiences with my own clients and some of the other people I've connected to, just feel like I want to add it's not always clear-cut gender. Like
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
feminine oppression 100%. We can see the history, and those of us in a female body, I guess, have kind of got some
Hmm.
subconscious collective stuff we've inherited with
Yeah,
that. And yet
definitely.
I see, people in a male body that are actually experiencing that similar,
Exactly.
being the doormat, where they have a really powerful partner who's in a female body. And that,
Mm,
you see the same dynamic play out in
sure.
other ways. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I feel like if we can safely still
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like
generalize.
that's why I always say, like, when I say masculine, feminine, it's always yin, yang, fire,
Yeah.
earth. Like, there's so many ways of that we don't even have yet in order to express in language, but yeah, not connected to
Yes.
gender.
Well, I
Mhm.
feel like it's even that I remember when I was learning human design myself, it's like we all have all of the chart.
Yes, we all have
we
everything.
we all
Yeah.
have everything. We all have
Yeah.
the masculine and the feminine, right?
Yes.
And I would love to bring it back to human design here as well,
Yes.
because I specifically feel like it would be wonderful to hear you share from your perspective how
Mhm.
you find it can help people in that, like connecting with that inner authority, like really
Yes.
finding their own true or correct, tends to be
Yes.
like truth is, so let's not use the word true, but like most correct decision in a moment.
Yes, yes.
How,
The easier path, I like to think of it.
yeah.
You can absolutely live a life not following your inner authority, which is what we call it in human design. But I think things will be harder for you. And I think that um, it will take longer to grow in certain ways and to learn certain lessons. So it's never you'll be forced to do something. It's just like this is the path that's going to be smoother, that's going to be easier, that's designed for you.
Mhm.
So in human design, we have 7 main authorities. And so when you look up your chart, I encourage everyone to look at their chart and find out, okay, what is my authority? The number one authority, and by that I mean the one that most people have in the world, is emotional authority. And so that means that you have a defined solar plexus center, which is the emotional center, and that you have high highs and low lows. And for you, it's important to wait to make decisions. So I'm just going to use this as an
Yeah.
example. I'm emotional authority. When I found this out, I was so relieved and just surprised about it, because my whole life I was very much conditioned to make snap decisions, to, oh, that's what being decisive looks like, is just to, make a quick calculation in your mind and just go for it based on, what strategically seems best or
Mhm.
what other people are saying. And then when I found out I'm emotional authority, like many, many people are, I found out, actually, I'm not meant to make snap decisions. I'm meant to actually allow the answer to come to me over time. That time could be an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year. I
Mhm.
don't control it. The higher the emotionality of the decision, like for example, moving house is a highly emotional decision versus what am I going to have for lunch? So the more emotional a decision, the longer it's going to take. But if I follow my process, my decision-making process, which is to wait until I feel emotionally neutral and then and then it clicks and then it comes to me and then it's revealed. If I do
Mhm.
that, I make better decisions and I will never miss out on things, and I won't be rushed into things that I think I have to do because so and so says. And I feel more like clear, just more clear on things. And if someone wants to rush me and say, nope, I need to have an answer tomorrow, and then I just say, well, it's probably not for me then, because
Yeah.
I don't make decisions not in alignment with my inner voice, and my inner voice will not be rushed. That's real queen
Yeah.
energy right there.
Yeah.
hmm And so but it's very different. And just to give another example from a, say, splenic definition or emotional authority, sorry,
Yeah.
splenic authority.
Authority.
Yeah, thank you. My words. So
That's
it's
good.
authority. So a splenic authority person, which could be a projector or a manifestor. So if you have splenic authority, then that means that you actually have this little instinct. And I say little because it's a quieter voice. It's not like a big, loud, ta-da, this is the correct answer. It's a quieter voice that you're going to hear that happens in the moment. someone asks you, hey, would you like to go to Bali and do co-host a retreat with me? You don't need a lot of time to think about that. You're actually going to have a gut reaction, a splenic, shall we say, reaction in the moment, which is yes or no. And the catch, the thing you have to learn in your human design is to listen to it, is to trust that voice, because
Mhm.
it's a soft voice, but it's a clear voice. And usually in splenic authority, you'll get 2 or 3 times that you get to hear that voice, and then that's it. So you got to listen to it the first time. I've
Yeah.
heard so many interesting, clients that I've had who are projectors or manifestors who've talked about splenic authority and how it feels. And the way I would describe it as like a metaphor is it's like a flag system. You get a red flag, a green flag, an amber flag, and you got to like listen to it the first time, and then just trust. It's
Mhm.
not logical. It's not based on some kind of, mental pros and cons list calculation. It really is a gut reaction that will never steer you wrong. So that's
Mhm.
just some examples of 2 different out of the 7 different authorities and how different they are, right? Like if I was splenic authority, I would live my life completely differently. I would run my business completely differently, but I'm not. I'm emotional authority. And thank God I know that, because it really helps me to have more confidence in the decisions I'm making and to recognize that they're not random. They are based on my inner voice, my intuition, and this deep knowing that isn't logical. It just is.
Mhm. Mhm. And I feel like that's the one that people often learn in hindsight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
This
I'm
is a
sure
great
I felt
exercise.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, look in hindsight to some big decisions that you made, whether it's like a relationship, whether it's a career decision or a moving house or something, and think about the way you made that decision, how long it took you. Did you actually know right away, and did you
Hmm.
ignore that inner voice? And it's great to actually, with all compassion and self-forgiveness, like look at the past and say, like, how did this work out for me? Maybe I should try something different.
Yeah. And I love actually even the way human design is taught is kind of like just experiment with it.
Yes, yes,
If
yes.
you really feel like you don't want to try that out, don't try that out. Don't do
Yeah.
that decision
Yeah.
this time. But notice,
Experiment on little decisions. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what do I want to have for lunch? Or
Hmm.
do I want to go and hang out with my friends this weekend? Experiment on little decisions and see how it goes, and then move forward accordingly. I
Yeah.
happen to know that for me, planning things months and months in advance doesn't work very well,
Hmm.
because my emotional authority, I may feel differently on the day.
Yeah.
And so I don't force myself into things unless I'm absolutely sure this is right for me. And it just, it changes the way I do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the other piece I wanted to add, just um, because it came to me while you were talking. So I have another friend who's like mental authority, and
Mm.
we
Oh, like a
connect
mental projector?
projector,
Yes,
and
yes.
we
We call that
connect
outer
via
authority
oh
sometimes.
outer do
Outer,
yeah.
yeah.
We have like a voice. We leave voice notes for each other,
Yes,
and like so
perfect.
I'm her sounding board.
Perfect. Yeah, that's
And
exactly what
you
the
hear her
people do.
come to a decision as she's sharing.
As she's
Like,
talking.
I'm
Yes,
like,
they have to talk it out. They have
yeah.
to talk it out. Yeah.
And I can really feel it click. And then she's like, okay, now I know. And like, it's just amazing to watch this in action.
Love it.
But the piece that I wanted to add was this, which I said earlier, like we all have all of the charts. So if some people are
Yes.
sort of going, oh no, but I have that intuition authority too,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
my chart's saying that I've got emotional,
Mm.
it doesn't mean you won't ever get that like intuitive
Yeah.
nudge
Yeah.
depending on transits and people. And, and I've noticed that in myself, because I thought that, I've had all these intuitive things happen over my life. But for
Mhm.
me, they're not like a consistency to it. It's, oh, when I was
Yes.
in Hawaii, that happened. And when I was there, this happened. And this one time
Yes.
that happened. It felt all like these incredible intuitive experiences, but they weren't
Yes.
so like a consistent
That's a good point.
experience
Like,
for me.
yeah, I mean, because of our charts are made up of openness versus self-generated energy. And so if you have a lot of openness in your chart, you are going to experience what you're saying more often because you are being activated by other people and your environment more than someone who has a lot of self-generated energy all over their chart, right? Definition. And so, yeah, if you're a mental projector and you only have the top two centers defined and all of your other centers in human design, which are connected to the chakras for anyone who's new to this, are white, are open, then yeah, you're going to be almost like on a daily basis, depending on where you are and who you're around, experiencing lots of different energies and lots of different influences. And so if I am spending time with a mental projector, they're going to be borrowing a lot of my energy. And so they're going to be feeling maybe more emotional than normal, or maybe more, creative than normal or whatever,
Yeah.
because it's coming off of me. They get to sample it for a day and use it accordingly, but then they got to let it go at night and like, okay, back to my normal self.
Yes, yeah, Thank you for sharing that. I realized we kind of we didn't start at the beginning when it
It's
comes
okay. Yeah,
to
I wanted to
human
give like
design.
a
No, it's
example.
good. It's really, really great. Because yeah, this kind of concept is this energy that like
Mhm.
how your energy body works, if you want to
Yeah.
play in this realm for people that are listening. So can you tell me a little bit more then
Mhm.
around I guess why you find this is so important for helping people, reconnect to who they are and like open to new possibilities.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I really feel very passionately and very strongly that when people start learning human design, it's actually going to be a process of undoing a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
So when you start, it's like, ooh, I'm so excited about this human design. Okay, let's like sit down, let's learn about ourselves. And actually, we call this in human design deconditioning, but it's like an unlearning. It's like, okay, so I realize that just to give my own example, I'm a very emotional person, but I was taught that emotions were like bad in a way.
Mhm.
They are a sign of weakness. They're not like, it's not celebrated to be emotional. And so I had to do a lot of unlearning of all of that crap to
Mhm.
be like, okay, actually, how does my design show that I am perfect the way I am? And that I actually need to almost like relearn to be myself, which is a process of unlearning me trying to be some kind of logical robot, like it was not, I mean, like this is so not me. And so I think being compassionate and gentle with yourself in the beginning is really important, but also keeping a very open mind to the aspects of yourself that are actually not authentic. The aspects of yourself that maybe you've gotten praise for, or you've been, told like, yes, this is how you should be, good job. And maybe those weren't natural to you. Maybe you just kind of put that on that mask. Maybe you
Mhm.
just put on that costume for a while and it's time to take it off. So
Mhm.
I think for me, that's the first stage when you start learning about your human design, is the unlearning and the compassion and the pure, just like be your own bestie self-love that needs to develop.
Mhm.
And through that process, it gets to be fun because you start realizing, oh my gosh, like those things that I thought were like about myself that were weird or quirky, or no one wants to see or no one wants to know, are actually my genius, are actually the reasons that people want to be around me and people want to work with me. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and so the next stage after unlearning is like, how am I going to show who I am more? How am I going to be
Yeah.
more visible in what my gifts are? And I love looking at human design type for that, looking at the profile lines for that, to start to really almost like embody this powerful personal brand that
Mhm.
is you, that you were born with. And it's this wonderful kind of process of becoming who you were always meant to be. And for a lot of people, it's more about letting go than about trying. It's about just letting go of the old ways, and
Mhm.
it's very freeing, very freeing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I love that. And it
Mhm.
really like it just hearing you express that, hearing you explain that just helps me see how well this all fits with the branding of
Oh my
We were
gosh.
just helping
Yes.
people be radically themselves, is
Yes.
the process of, yeah, peeling back the onion of everything we've picked up over the years that is just not actually the truth of who we are.
Exactly. Like I used
And
to,
mm,
yeah, oh, sorry. I was going to share a
there you
little
go.
story. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
tell me.
Well, yeah, just as an example, like I used to work in corporate, right, in tech. And so everyone in corporate and tech is very corporate and techy, right? And that's, of course. And I have a big, bubbly personality. If you're watching the video, you can see I use my hands a lot. I have curly hair. I'm like very expressive. And I really dimmed a lot of that down. I think people would almost not recognize me. Like if I share some photos of like, what I looked like at that time and kind of how I presented myself, I really was just putting on an act. Like I was putting on corporate Rachel act.
Mhm.
And I was told repeatedly by managers and directors, you have a big you're too much. Like you have a big person, you need to professionalize yourself and and then of course, as I've undone and unlearned a lot of that, I recognize that that was actually the stuff that was making me successful with clients, with my people, with my teams. I was considered like one of the best managers, at this company. And it's because of me. It's my personality and my
Mhm.
gifts, right? Which is relating to people. And so in my business, I can finally bring that out. And it's amazing on social media because people get connected to me and are excited to work with me because of my too muchness, right? Like I've
Mhm.
had so many clients tell me, I wanted to work with you because you're so different from what I'm typically seeing with life coaches. They're like, oh, I wanted someone unconventional. I wanted someone a little kooky. I wanted someone,
Yes.
who can laugh at life and have a good time.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I just wanted to give that as an example of things that we're taught to cover up, which actually end up being the thing that's going to make us successful. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. I actually didn't know that about you until I read your bio. Like we met last
yeah,
year. And it mirrors mine so much because I was
yeah,
corporate too as a chartered accountant for 10 years in like investment
yeah.
banking. And I tell people that now and they're like, you are kidding me, right?
They're
Like
like,
I can't
what?
possibly see you in that role. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting. Um, how can people find you? I'm going to put all your links in
Hmm,
the show notes, but I think it's
sure.
great for anyone that's listening that,
Yeah.
that your website might just kind of stick in their mind or your
Yes,
Instagram. So please share that with us here if people want
definitely.
to
Yeah.
find out
So
more about your work.
oh, I would love that. I would love for anyone to come who's curious. I do lots of free content podcasts and courses and all that kinds of stuff as well. So it's on social media. It's anywhere at Cosmic Queen HQ.
Mhm.
So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you're going to find that. And then I have my Cosmic Queen podcast as well. So go and check it out. Mhm.
Fantastic. Thank you so, so much for sharing your time and coming and talking to us a bit more about human design, particularly decision making and authority,
Oh,
when it
yes.
helps you find more of who you are and the truth of who you are. I really, really appreciate you coming and I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And good luck to everyone in discovering your human design, discovering that you are truly a star, because that's what this is all about.
Yes, 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 yes. And on that note, goodbye, everyone. Until next time. Thank you so much.